Okay, good morning everyone, it's 9:15, so I'm going to call this meeting of the Lancaster County Prison Board to order for 7/18/2025. Our first item is Pledge of Allegiance. Marla Brown, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marla. Item 3 is announcements. I don't have any announcements. Item 4 is approval of the minutes. We had the minutes from the November 20th, 2025 meeting. They've been submitted by the board secretary. So motion to approve.
So moved.
So second.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, item 5 is our regular monthly reports, and item 5A is the warden's report. Good morning, warden.
Good morning. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. Starting out with the population, as I always do, I will say, I'll preface it by saying we are in work release here. It's a housing unit, both top and bottom tier inmates. We currently have 54 out here, 22 of them being outmates, meaning they go out into the community and work in our local establishments and businesses, and the rest of them work within the facility or are waiting to have a job in the facility. John Collins, you have John Collins? Our police director out here, he runs the show with some of these folks that are here. So I just always like to tell you where you are here in the building when you're out visiting us for prison board. In-house population, I was going with the month before. In 2024, our average was 820 inmates. In 2025, it was 825. So 820 and 825, and this morning we're at 806 individuals here in the building. So 806 is our count. And then we had our second audit of the year. I do have Captain Secord here with if we need to get into the weeds or anybody has any questions. The captain and his folks are the experts at this. And I think we talked about this at last prison board, and we had asked for certain things to be looked at when they were knowing they were doing their audit. Thursday, November 20th, they conducted their audit here. It was the second audit of the year. And I'll just read some numbers here for you. Charges not closed out in the inmate file, 9 up from 6 last audit. Status changes, sentence versus pretrial, discrepancies 1, same as the previous audit. And then paperwork that was in the wrong file, 0. And that first number, 9 compared to 6, I always remind everyone we're dealing with 800 and some files that we're doing here. So while it's not alarming, any part of this is always a concern, but I don't see anything that is alarming here. Actually, it's a very good job. The below items were reviewed and collected as part of a systematic review of the inmate population for various incarceration reasons. So the number of inmates only incarcerated on PV violations, and that includes the PV text with 90. And just for some comparison, when we have our spring audit, it was 124. So 90, this time 124 for those PV violations. And the number of inmates only incarcerated on PV tech. So PV tech, missed appointment. I know Jen Luciano's here too, if anybody has any. PV tech, a dirty urine, things like that. That number was at 42 compared to 44 in the spring. So not much of a difference, 42 to 44. Number of inmates waiting to be released due to incomplete parole plan. And that was 33. And in the spring, 35. And then the number of sex offenders, inmates waiting to be released due to incomplete parole plan, that was 7. That number is important to us. Why do we talk about sex offenders? I have 2 housing units that sex offenders occupy, and often we're teetering on, do we need to open that? So I have 1.5 units dedicated to sex offenders, and as we talk about the new facility, we're concerned with how many units do we have to have dedicated for that type of classification of individuals. Yesterday, I had asked one of the staff members in the records department, just talking about PV techs, how many did we have as of yesterday, PV techs, and we had 63. So, you know, I gave the number of 42 when they did their audit, and we're now seeing PV techs at 63. Brian, I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to add or anything I've missed.
That's consistent.
Consistent. So that's all I have, and then I'll be up about the design development update for the new facility. That is not all I have. My goodness. Whoopie Pie Day, we just ran it. I know we usually talk about next month. Dan Klinger is here. Again, outstanding, amazing, you know. It was fun. A lot of the staff here helped with that. I think we had 40, 40 individuals here, volunteers helping, that Dan brought with him, and then there was a luncheon afterwards where we spoke. So I want to thank you, legally, I appreciate it. There's whoopie pies back here. I don't know about the mango jalapeno one, but I'm not that daring. But yeah, so.
Bacon one.
Yeah.
I've heard great things, they went quick.
So I do want to thank you for that, and I will, a note here, and yes, it's only a note, it's so much more that stands behind it. Arlo Brown, after 15 years, is going to be retiring. So, when we all know it's a big impact. If you know Arla, she does more than her job. She's, yeah, and she brings a lot to us. So I'm hoping that maybe I can talk her into coming back to us in one way, shape, or form. But yeah, she's definitely, and she's a friend. So we'll keep that going, I know for sure. And I wish you all happy holidays as well. Merry Christmas to everyone. But I'll be back up for the design development. I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you, Ward. Questions, comments on the warden's report?
I have a question or comment. I always found this to be interesting, but I think it might be good to just share, you know, when you talk about the audit and you have the whole idea about paperwork, because I know one of the things I was surprised at to understand was when are things all automated and all computer, and to think about paperwork or pieces of paper being, we're not in one place and another, and why aren't they computerized?
Right, and I know the captain, I'll let you speak to it, but I know we have often talked about it, the amount of paperwork just coming from the courts, you know, that has to be printed out, we have to go through that. Sometimes aren't even inmates here, you know, they have to, you know, sit through that paperwork, which could cause an error. We've had many conversations over that. I don't know your thoughts on paperwork.
There's some issues with records retention guidelines, that physical copies of certain things do require to be kept for an extended period of time. So that complicates things a little bit. Ideally, yeah, we would all be like to have everything electronic and at our fingertips. Unfortunately, with some of the issues we have in our local facility with connectivity, internet going down, software going down, we've found out that there's times if we are only electronically based, that could cause a complication if we have an extended period of time where those internet's down or servers down or something along those lines. So that's why we still continue to use physical copies.
So there are other counties and other jails in the state that are electronic. And that works for the courts, Judge, in terms of how the information is shared? Or is it connected? Or is it just the prisons is computerized? Does that have something to do with anything with the courts being computerized? And probation? You know what I mean, like the different systems?
Well, they're different systems.
That's more so the old structure of this building and the limited access we have.
For here, okay. Yeah, it just reminds me a lot of healthcare back 30 years ago when it was paper, and then, you know, you had one thing going on in the emergency room, another thing going on when you were on inpatient. What happened in the doctor's office? And now, when you look at that, you see how it's all seamless, so less issues, more continuum, you know, and you have information about the person quicker and all that. It just seems so beneficial. I remember way back when healthcare was paper, it was just like, oh, really, computer? No, I don't think so.
We have come a long way, but we're not, you know.
Yeah, it's just something, you know, for us to keep in mind.
Yeah.
With the new prison, there you go. Another reason.
Thank you. Other questions, comments on the warden's report? Yes, sir.
Just a data point question. So you mentioned how many were parole violations and which ones were specifically technical parole violations. And we've heard before about 2/3 of the prison population of folks that are pre-trial that have not been sentenced. So what approximately is the number of individuals that are being held pre-trial, not on a technical violation, but are simply in the midst of discovery for their case, or just being held on bail and put forward, or what other circumstances are holding folks here besides those PDs?
And so we wouldn't have that number.
I mean, I would have to have that as a dedicated data point going into this. But yeah, I mean, it's a substantial number.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have an exact number. Not today, as well, yeah.
So if that's something that could be added in the future, that might be helpful for us, as the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thank you, Warden.
Thank you.
Next up is the operations report, Deputy Warden Castro.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. I'm going to start with the security officers of the month for the month of November 2025. Start with Officer Jonathan Crawley, selected as November's first shift officer of the month. Officer Crawley consistently demonstrates a high level of professionalism and attention to detail across a variety of situations and posts. Crawley is a dependable mentor who guides his colleagues in their daily duties and serves as an influential member of the midnight to 8 a.m. team. His performance routinely exceeds expectations, showcasing an advanced comprehension of correctional duties and overall prison operations. He sets a commendable standard for conduct and performance for all corrections staff. Officer Crawley has been employed at the Lancaster County Prison for over 17 years. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Correctional Officer Nathan Carpenter was selected as November's second shift officer of the month. Officer Carpenter's attitude exemplified what it meant to be a team player and a reliable co-worker. Carpenter was always willing to assist with off-hour med runs, help out on a unit when he noticed the workload had increased, and was always willing to learn new posts on his downtime to better himself and the facility. He really took the time to learn the job of a correctional officer in depth and built up his skills over the last year. Officer Carpenter had been employed at Lancaster County Prison for over a year, but on December 16th, that was his last day as he joined the West Earl Township Police Department. So we wish him very well in his future. 4 p.m. to midnight, Correctional Officer Vanessa Saldia was selected as November's third shift officer of the month. Officer Saldia takes great pride in her work, makes a continuous effort to teach newer staff about the facility, and is always willing to assist where needed. She has shown great initiative by creating a guide for newer staff to help them learn how to run 2-5, which is one of our more complex blocks to run. She can always be counted on to assist in de-escalating potential use of force situations by talking difficult inmates into complying with staff. Officer Sylvia has been employed at the Lancaster County Prison for over 3 years. Okay. And our next officer of the month, actually she's in the back, I don't know if she come forward here. Operations Officer of the Month for November, Officer Emily Jimenez. She was selected as November's Operations Officer of the Month. Officer Jimenez is recognized for her hard work regardless of where she's posted, whether it's the lobby, visitation, or video conference positions. She is very knowledgeable in these areas, and her expertise allows operations to run smoothly. Jimenez interacts well with the public, and her work is appreciated by her peers. She completes tasks thoroughly and with ease. She can be relied upon to get the job done. Officer Jimenez has been employed at the Lancaster County Prison for just under 5 years. Thank you, Officer Jimenez. Let's see. Last month, I introduced Sergeant Mastinek to the board. I'm going to ask him to come back up again very briefly here. He has since completed basic training, and he's now working with the veteran sergeants, kind of refining his knowledge of the role here. And so I would like to give Sergeant Mastinek his sergeant badge. So Sergeant Mastinek, we are pin on his sergeant chevrons. I'm not going to put the backs in. Thank you. Just a warning. I will hand them to you. Just a little bit. There you go, sir. All right, welcome to the team. Okay, our staffing update, along with Sergeant Mastinek, 3 new correction officers graduated basic training on Thursday, December 11th. They are now in the OJT portion of their training, working hands-on with veteran officers. We ended the month of November with 1 lieutenant vacancy. We ended the month of November with 1 captain vacancy, and also 14 correctional officer vacancies.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for the deputy warden?
I have a question. Can you just add some relativity to the vacancies, the 14 vacancies? How is that, you said, sort of the baseline? Is it on the high level?
This is kind of where we've been floating at for much of the year. So this year, we have averaged throughout the entire year about 194 officers on staff. And so we're at 191 right now at this moment. So we're pretty close to where we've been all year.
So, I think we know that it's always difficult to have, totally covered.
Yes.
But then there's usually a baseline, so you think 14 is sort of, you get.
It's within a comfortable range.
Comfortable
Yes.
range, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 of those were retirements of
Yes.
30 years plus, and one was the police officer, that came from, I want to be a police officer, so 4 of those we can account for in such a way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next report is the inmate services report. Deputy Warden Schiffler.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just have a couple of very brief topics this morning. First, I do want to say it's been a busy month. We continue to work on programming. We obviously have our MRT groups running, our drug and alcohol, and we're working on some other programs that are in process now. I hope to announce those, at least 1 or 2 of them in the new year, so I'm really looking forward to that. So we keep chugging away. I as well want to thank Dan Klinger and Justice and Mercy for being out at the facility last Thursday. Always a wonderful day. This year we had a lot of flavors to choose from, which are interesting, but very good. Again, there's whoopie pies in the back. We just had a wonderful day. It's something that the inmates really enjoy, receiving that gift, and enjoy talking to the volunteers as we move through the facility. So thank you to Dan and his staff, and Tom Ziegler and his wife. Next, we've been doing this for the past 3 years. We work with LCBC Church, and they provide hope packs to our inmates and a gift to our staff, a very small gift, and we appreciated them. They were here this past Tuesday. All the inmates got a hope pack, and just a wonderful day to have the volunteers move through the facility. We had 10 volunteers in, and we passed out those hope packs, and we thank them. And that's all I have today. I just want to say, Arla, I wish you nothing but the best. I'm going to miss you tremendously. And one thing to know about Arla, when things got tough, and things do get tough, she's always there to support us and to help us. So thank you. And I too want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Joe. Questions, comments for Deputy Warden Schiffler? Okay, thank you. Next up is Administrative Report. The Arla Brown.
Good morning.
Retiring from a distinguished career at the prison, before that, a distinguished career with the U.S. Army.
Military. Yes, sir. Retired Army Bullock.
18 years.
Yes, very proud of that. Very proud of my service here as well. As always, and thanks to Deputy Schiffer, it was not a hard act to follow today. Usually it make it difficult for him to talk about good things going on in treatment. As always, my monthly statistics are provided online. I usually end it by saying if there's any topic that you would like me to add, to contact me, but I need to take that out. And contact my replacement who is
I don't know,
to
you
be
can leave it in
determined.
there.
Okay, feel free. My last day is next week, and thinking back on when I first started, I was so nervous, still nervous. But members of the public, members of the board, you've made it easy, and I thank you for that. And I still get nervous, but a little bit more comfortable up here. So I appreciate you working with me and the relationships that we built, and look forward to possibly working with the county again, because government is where my heart is. And thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments for Arla?
Ready to stop that. Thank you.
Arla, before she was with the prison, was with the court.
Court,
So
yes, for
has
6 years,
a
yes,
good background in all the criminal justice entities in Lancaster County. It's been a huge asset to this organization, so I want to say I appreciate all your hard work.
And I remember when Judge Brown was first elected, I did as part of his inauguration and ordering his robe. So I did work with the courts for 6 years.
She remembers
Dressed up
everything
as-
too.
It's time for me to retire.
Oh. So I have a piece of my heart with the courts as well, so both sides of the criminal justice system. So it's intrigued me, and I've learned a lot over the years, and again, I appreciate everyone that worked with me. Thank you.
Yeah, and all I'd just like to say.
You're trying to sit down.
No, not yet. No, I'd just like to say, when I first came on board in this role and met you and met, the other folks at the prison, that I know you and I spent a lot of time together, whether you liked it or not.
Statistics.
It was, I know, it was always about, but if I had questions about the data, understanding where it came from, a lot of that, and you were just always so open to, if you didn't know the answer, how to figure it out. And that sometimes I thought maybe I was being a little bit too, like, Carla, I wondered about this, wondered about that. And then
That's
lo and
okay.
behold, you'll send, but no, you'd send me an email saying, what about this? Like, you always were really curious, and you always wanted to go the extra mile to try to find the answer if you didn't have the answer. And I know you were really busy at that time, and, I wasn't even sure what to ask, but you were just so helpful with me onboarding and understanding the data and everything going on here. Again, even if you didn't know the answer, you knew enough people and how to get that information. So always really appreciate it. It made me really feel like it was a collaborative effort, and that I was welcome to ask the questions and all of that. And you were curious as well, like
Yes,
trying to figure that out. And new data systems, you were like, maybe not. Yeah, so I really appreciate that. It really set the tone and for the rest of the staff at the prison as well for me.
I appreciate that. I always try to, if I don't know the answer, find the answer. And that's how I develop relationships throughout the county as well. If I don't know, I ask. And then always very respectful and polite. What goes around comes around, so I appreciate that and try to be transparent as well with my responses. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, Arla.
Can I sit down now? Thank you.
All right, up next is item E, the Facilities Management Report, Bob Devonshire, Director of General Services.
Morning, everyone. Merry Christmas. Morning. Start off, working on the new correctional facility, which we're going to be up here in a few minutes to speak about and feel more in depth. Our work orders for November closed out. We closed out 130. We had 1,371 years to date. Compared to the last 5 years at this point in time, 1,384, so we're right on track. 125 for the month average of 2025, and 126 over the last 5 years. So, again, we're kind of right on track. This is our time of year we're kind of geared up for winter. We just had our first taste of winter, so things seem to go pretty good. Arla, congratulations. As you transition into your retirement, you said you'd like to maybe pick something else up in government. I do have other seasonal positions, and I have
Summertime.
Summertime, very well.
Thank you, Bob. Questions, comments for Bob?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So this item F, the financial report, Controller Kathy Hunt.
Good morning. Good
Good morning.
So today I'm going to review the 2025 prison financial report. As of November 30th, 2025, the prison's operating section is total revenue received to date was $1,591,475. Expenditures to date, personnel services
$599,324. Supplies, $837,908. Purchase services year-to-date, $11,210,788. And capital expenditures, $17,355, for a total year-to-date of $38,665,374. For the prison maintenance category, supplies year-to-date, $77,798, and purchase services, $1,671,041, for a total year-to-date of $1,748,839. For the inmate general welfare fund, revenues to date, $1,248,642. Expenditures to date, $1,152,195. The current inmate general welfare fund balance is $441,128.
Thank you, Kathy. Questions, comments for Kathy? Okay, thank you. Next up is item G. This is the update on the new prison project. Yes, Celine, to provide that.
So the project team is working towards finalizing a draft for the design of the Lancaster County Correctional Facility to present to the Board of Commissioners, the Prison Board, and the public. As we did with the schematic design, we will provide several opportunities for members of the public to view the presentation, ask questions, and provide feedback. We plan to provide 3 opportunities to share the design development presentation. First, we'll present at the Board of Commissioners work session meeting at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, January 6th, and that's at the government building downtown. And that meeting will also be live streamed. If you're unable to attend. The link will be available on the county agenda center webpage. And then later on in the evening, same building, we'll host a public listening session where the members of the public are welcome to attend, speak with the project team, and provide their feedback. So that's both on the 6th at the government building. And then the following week, we'll provide the presentation again at the January 15th prison board. And that will be at the government building as well. All dates and times will be added to the LCCF website. If you are unable to attend one of these meetings, we will also publish the presentation online. Members of the public are welcome to submit comments to the LCCF website or are welcome to provide comments at any regular scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting or prison board. That's my update. So I look forward to that. It's a good way to start out the new year.
Thank you, Ward. Questions, comments for the board on that? Yeah.
Just a question, it says later in the evening, do we have a time for that?
I'm sorry, did I not say? I want to say it's 6:30. Let me look it up quick.
I'm sure it'll be on the website.
Michael, 6:30? My fault, 6:30.
Okay.
6:30 on the 6th.
Kent, was that your question too? Okay.
I have a question or a comment or a suggestion. Could you explain for the public the difference between what they're about to see then in the beginning of January? So the difference between the schematic design and the design development presentation, like what's going to change the people that have been there before to the other feedbacks?
Yeah, Bob, you want to join too? So this is, we had talked about alternates before. You've heard us talk about alternates and what that looked like. You won't see the actual design, you won't see cells and different things like that. But so I guess the quick summary is everything that we've been doing put together, and here it is. Like, so here is the design of the facility, whereas before it was our thoughts and what we thought it would look like. I don't know if you have a better interpretation of that. I know, you'll hear a lot about comments that we had previously received, and now they're incorporated in the natural lighting, the direct sight lines out to the urban yard. We've spent a lot of time on the urban yards in the design that you'll see. We didn't talk a lot about that before, so there's a lot of concentration on that and colors, wellness area. We spent a lot of time on that. You'll hear a lot about that. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. Is there? medical was a lot of conversation you'll see. And so, yeah, I don't know, but did I answer your question? So all the conversations and all the talk, here it is. Here's how we think, and through, again, many meetings. A lot of my staff were involved in that. And it's not the final, we're still taking feedback. Those alternates, we feel confident in saying, I can speak for Bob, that we think this is what we think they should be included in. So those it's 6 alternates actually, should be as we have designed it. Yeah.
Thank you.
If I may, I think at a higher level, I'm not sure if you met this as well, but the difference between schematic and a design development is much more detailed. Schematic is higher level, it's not as much detail, but this is one step below actual construction drawings. It's getting that closer, so much more detailed. In fact, you would see differences between a schematic design. When you get to development design, you realize that, oh, yeah, that probably doesn't work so well this way, it works better this way, because you're getting that much more detail. So I think at a higher level, that's also the difference.
We were doing that yesterday, Bob, in the afternoon.
And you'll continue to do that for a while,
Yeah. Bob brought it to my attention, for instance, there was a way in, an access door, or a way out, it actually was, in our laundry area, so getting into those details, outlets and different things like that. So, yeah, it's all we've talked about coming together, seeing what it looks like.
Literally going from a few pages to hundreds.
781 blueprints.
So Bob is educating me how to read those, so,
Top to bottom, left to right. What do you see as next steps after those 3 meetings?
Gathering the feedback that we receive, talking about it and discussing it. We're taking it to the Board of Commissioners as well, their feedback and how they'd like us to proceed. So listening, from those 3 events and what we're getting out of those and the direction we're given by the board. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it's the next step, getting those clarifications and then back to the Board of Commissioners and Prison Board for their ultimate decision to move forward from there.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you both. Okay, that concludes our regular monthly reports. We don't have any old or new business under item 6 and 7, so move to item 8, business from guests. Are there any guests who wish to address the board? If so, please come up to the podium, state your name and your municipality. Anyone? Neil? Neil Ward, West Earl. And second mention of West Earl today.
Yeah. Your boss are in, yeah.
Good morning.
I'd like to look it up, the judge, do we have the numbers on the rapid resolutions?
Yes, Neil. We actually had the totals for the year 2025. There were 649 cases in rapid resolution. So started in August, so that's just half the year. We have 90. D.A. Adams might, she can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 94 that's scheduled for one session in January. So things are picking up, which is good. And I believe it's an over 80% resolution of cases within 90 days, once they go into that.
Well, thank you. I wanted to spend more time on this, but I would also ask questions. About ATMs and dashboard. I spent a little time on dashboard trying to understand the Allegheny. It's really comprehensive, just what we need. So, is this dashboard, is that a part of the product? Those numbers on top of that database, how does that dashboard develop?
I don't, that's all it is, we don't have that. That's how they gave me so much.
Well, how,
So, Neil, in terms of so the ATIMs, and jump in, please. It's the data system that they're using for the prison. It doesn't necessarily automatically translate into a dashboard similar to what Allegheny County has. Although the information within ATIMs could be used to be extracted, as well as potentially information coming from the court, to develop a dashboard such as what Allegheny County has. We had just started to talk about what would be some of the top key points that we can take out of ATIMs to see what that connection could look like if we're going to translate into some type of dashboard that would look like Allegheny. I think you can jump in terms of, it took a while to get used to the system and to see what's there, but how do we automatically take that out to begin to think about a dashboard that we might develop?
so that's separate programming.
Yes, it is.
So on like Allegheny, do they have interface files or is it real time? Like transactions real time?
It's real time.
Okay,
It's day
so
to day, it's
developed-
updated every
They've done the
day.
programming that real time against the ATIM database.
Mhm. So, and it's not that easy,
I'm sure.
I'm not an IT person, and I'm always like sprinkle the fairy dust and think that it's gonna happen, so I've learned over the years that it's not that easy, lots of head shaking there.
ATIMS, they watched the last prison board meeting, they're very attentive and very good partners with us, and they've actually since reached out, and we started preliminary talks about them doing some work for us about some essential reports that we would want, and a potential dashboard.
So that was part of the answer I was looking for. In my mind's eye, I see like, not that the staff's not calm, it's that you have a lot going on.
Sure.
A lot going on. So, and I forgot to say, I appreciate all that you guys do. I really do. So would we consider, I think this is really important data, and to be able to present it on a mouse click or something like that. Could we hire a consultant, people who have done this before, bring them in and do some of this work? Now, because I don't know how much progress that we're gonna make in the next year or two. If you have people that have the experience, I think that short-term expenditure will be well worth taxpayer dollars. Return on investment, or ROI. So my suggestion is to bring contractors in and build this dashboard and help.
ATIMS has already offered to do some of this work and free of charge. So there may not be a cost. I'm not saying, I can't guarantee there won't be, depending on what our pie in the sky type of dashboard looks like. But they have already offered to be a part of the work that's on that.
I don't know what you can generate in code, or what has to be developed, that kind of thing, and I'm sure those guys can help us. And they work with Allegheny and all those guys, right?
They don't work with Allegheny, but they're all a similar type of business, yes. They have that.
And the other thing, Neil, to think about is when Allegheny developed that dashboard, that was years ago, and they didn't have a system like ATIMS that has the detailed and level of specificity that's collected, at least at the prison level, to be able to pull. So then they use consultants and have somebody else come up and sort of lay the dashboard that they're using on top of everything else, where we're taking a little time and thinking about what the integration could be naturally with what we have already. And that's the work that's being done.
Whatever investment in time and money, I think would be well worth it. That's my opinion.
Well, let me just address like logistically how something like this happens. If the prison has something that they think needs to be done, if it costs money or a contract, it has to be brought to the Board of Commissioners. If it's just an administrative project, they could move forward in exploring it, and it doesn't cost any money, but still ultimately the Board of Commissioners and/or the prison board would have to be in agreement with it. And so just one commissioner saying do this doesn't provide the authority to do so. I am interested in hearing about a proposal, but I'm not aware of either the prison board or the Board of Commissioners saying to go forward with something. If it is, my criteria is always if it is helpful to the prison and the organization and provides transparency, that is helpful. But if it is something that is, again, about having, having arguments about the criminal justice, the larger criminal justice system, that's not the place either for the prison or the prison board. So I just want to be clear about that as far as my view.
I agree. Okay. On the, I think it was crime care reports, I noticed it is total number of involuntary mental health commitments, number of patients waiting transfer to state hospital, and my question is, when would somebody be committed to maybe a hospital, transferred out? And how would that be done? Like, is that a court order? Is that, who makes that decision? And what facility would they go to?
That's a process right now. Our folks go to Torrance, sorry. Torrance. T-O-R-E-N-C-E.
It's normally, Neil, someone who is deemed not competent to stand trial, and that's by the court doing that. And then they have to wait to go to a state hospital, which is oftentimes very difficult because there's not many spots. And then sometimes they're sent there, and they come back, and they're deemed competent, and then a court again deems them incompetent. So this has been a very challenging issue for the prison and for all prisons for many years, largely because there are not very many spots at the state hospital. Am I stating that correctly, Jeff?
Correct.
So we're talking about somebody that might not be competent enough to stand trial. Is there behavior in the facility that would cause somebody to go to a mental health facility?
A lot of times it's based on their mental health diagnosis, whether they're med compliant or not, whether they're a danger to themselves or others. So there's a criteria that we go by that allows us to assist them, if necessary, to a state hospital, and that's many times they're coordinated.
So we make the decision.
No,
We don't make the decision.
we provide information, and, records. We have a mental health team here who determines if they're seriously mentally ill. And then a court order will deem them necessary for them to go to the state for competency.
Well, you would present that to the court,
Correct.
and then that decision would be made,
Yes.
and they would be transferred.
Yes.
Okay.
But Neil, you brought up a word, behavior. Often, and we have said this before, some folks, there are most difficult folks here at the facility, causing, many of our behavior issues and problems, and consuming a lot of the time with both our correctional staff and our medical staff. So a lot of time is spent with individuals such as that.
Lastly, court-ordered programs, I'm not familiar with that, but are there people that are detained in the facility because there's not programs available, not room or space?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
We have very, very few individuals who are court-ordered to programming. Some of it may be parenting or something of the like, but there's very few of those court-ordered. And we always facilitate what we can.
That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neil. Other questions, comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Jason, two questions. In the report that was given earlier, one of the things that was stated was that there are a certain number of folks that are still incarcerated because of an incomplete, I forget the terminology, right, an incomplete parole plan. Is that largely related to housing, that there's not a space for them to go to out in the community, or what might cause there to be an incomplete parole plan? for some examples of that, just so that we understand as the public.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. go
A
ahead.
lot of it has to do with housing and proper placement. There's an extensive list of questions that our pre-parole team does ask to the inmates in order to secure that information. But a lot of times, it is because of housing. That's magnified when the person tends to be a sex offender, because obviously there's limited places that times they can go once they are discharged. That is, I would say the majority of it is because of the housing that they have arranged is not suitable, or they simply can't find any housing or anywhere else going to be set.
Okay, so you'd say is that really, I don't know what you meant, kind of overwhelming issue is that housing component?
I would say that's the biggest thing.
Okay. And so those are the community we're trying to figure out what we can do to help, so just for what it's worth. We've got some ideas, but it's gonna be a while. So that's helpful data for us to know what might be part of the solution. And tagging along with that, I was wondering if there's an update on One United reentry system. I know there's been lots of conversation over the years about how to do reentry in a way that is as healthy and effective and dignified for folks as possible. That begins, I think the language used to be said here in the county was, from the moment somebody has their first contact with the criminal justice system, we're already planning for that reentry. And we've been really excited to hear some of the things that are happening in the prison with the One United reentry system. And I'm just curious if there's an update on where that's at, including the community hubs that were talked about as being a space for people to stay connected to the programs that they began perhaps while they were incarcerated to continue completing those. So is there an update on where that process is?
We continue to work on it. We've had some staffing issues, some key staff have moved on, but we continue to work on that. And as I said earlier, we have some hopeful updates at the beginning of the year, of some announcements that we should make of some programs that are moving forward, starting, to make that dream a reality.
Okay, and that includes the One United reentry system would be.
That's all
part of that?
part of it.
Okay.
That's the overarching umbrella of everything that we're doing.
Okay. And so just a follow-up on that, is there anything that in the community we can be doing to help support that work that you're trying to work on?
At this point, we're coordinating some services. I appreciate the offer. We will let you know if we do. But right now, we have a couple projects on the table, and it's just a matter of coordinating and finishing up some details.
Okay. And I would just say, a number of us that are concerned and want to be a support and a help, we appreciate the partnerships between the county government, the courts, the prison staff, and we want to be a support to that. So if there are needs, please, I would encourage you just to please voice those. We can't help if we don't know. And we sincerely want to be a partner. We ask lots of questions that we're trying to learn and get better and be with you in this. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you
And
very
Merry
much.
Christmas.
Same to you.
Other questions?
Just add that, how many people on average are awaiting release without parole plan, incomplete parole plan?
As of November 20th, it was 33.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Another topic, I wanted to talk, another topic I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, come up, you can ask whatever you want.
My name is Cindy Feaster and I'm with Have a Heart. First I wanted to say thank you for the Yoga and the Pando apps that are on the tablets. I just think that's a great other option for those that are incarcerated, just something to use.
They're religious apps that are on our tablets for our inmates,
So.
free of charge.
Yeah, it's good. I had a question about the earbuds. It's my understanding, like, they have to have earbuds in order to do phone calls. And just like with the holidays approaching, if there's anybody that doesn't have them, like, how does that work?
We provide them for free to every inmate that comes in. That's something that was brought to our attention, and we took care of that several months ago, actually over the summertime. So every inmate is at the cost, free of charge.
To do that,
They're
so
all
they have
provided.
access to that. That's great, thank you. And then this is just some general questions about the chaplains department, just a better understanding like of how that works. So how are the inmates informed of that, like when they come in, like to be made aware that there is that program?
We have an intake process, and they're made aware of all the services within the
They're there.
facility,
And
including
they come in.
chaplains. Yep. They're instructed on how to contact the chaplain and speak with them.
Okay, and then, so what are, like, different kinds of programs that they offer through the chaplains department?
The chaplains offer a variety of religious services. They could be services themselves, they could be Bible study groups, They have an extensive faith-based library that the inmates can opt into.
One-on-one.
One-on-one, yeah, there's a lot of one-on-ones that come in.
And then, like, how many, and so both for the men's and women's, they get the same opportunities?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
And like, how many can you get? I mean, this is a topic for other programs as well, but like, how many are allowed to be in a study?
We really try and max it out at 12 to 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just more, like, I don't know, like maybe safety things, not necessarily a space.
It's not necessarily,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
it's not necessarily a space thing, it's basically a good size for a group is anywhere from 10 to 15. If you get more than that, you tend to have some issues.
And for our church program, it's 50
50, yeah.
inmates per minute.
Okay. And they meet usually like once a week, like maybe or it varies depending on.
Once a week, the one-on-ones can visit more. We offer programming for services for all faiths, whether they be Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Catholic.
Okay. And like how long does it usually take if somebody puts in a request that?
Our chaplains team is fabulous.
Yeah.
I would say within 24 to 48 hours, they're getting somebody at their cell or talking with them about whatever their question might be, answering their question or helping them get hooked up with services.
So they do that, that's great, they do that quickly. Like, so for outside minister visits to come in, they obviously have to go through an
Yes.
application process. But then are they allowed to come in more than once a week, or is that only?
Oh, yeah, it's a schedule, they schedule events.
So an outside minister
Could
come in.
schedule, yes. We have to have them go through, as you're aware,
Right.
we have them go through the background process, and then we have a mandatory training where we go over security and other expectations as they're coming in.
But they can come in, because I know like the advisors would come in one time, when the ministers can come in more than one
The
time.
one-on-ones, if they schedule it with the chaplain's office,
They come in more than once.
some do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I didn't know if they were allowed to do that, so, and then they can just continue them as long as the inmate wants to.
As long as they schedule it, they
Cut
have
it
to
off.
continue to schedule.
Okay, and I was just curious if you had any stats on the number of visits. I know it's an astronomical number, but it's just.
In the prison board report, it's, I believe it's towards the back, it looks like this. This is a bad copy, but it looks like that,
Okay.
so.
It has all the numbers in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's all I had. It was of interest to me just to understand the program a little bit more. And I'm just thinking there might be a lot of people that don't even realize you have it or to what extent that is. And it's a small little fish in the big pond, but I just thank you
Actually-
for letting us have that type of program. It's very important.
It's actually a big fish.
Yeah, it's
They are, I have said this before at prison board, we couldn't function without support for prison ministries and all the work that they do and all the volunteers that are in there. We have over, I don't know what the exact count is now, but it's well over 150 volunteers that will come in and assist our inmates, assist us. So we're very appreciative of the services that they provide.
Well, and I just wanted to, again, just clear that up and just thank you for doing that. It's a wonderful, wonderful program to have. So keep them on board.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Motion is second to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you all.